in your bag is a copy of the 2011 World Stem Cell Report, which is produced by the Genetics Policy Institute, the nonprofit organization that I lead, and the peer-reviewed journal Regenerative Medicine. This has very unique content and interdisciplinary content, and I hope that you will enjoy this report. A meeting like this could never take place unless we had a team of people to help. I want to salute right off the bat Alan Fernandez of my team, the Director of Public Outreach and really the #2 person in our organization, for a prodigious effort. And when you look at the sponsors and the more than 135 endorsing organizations and many media partners, they largely have come about in support of this meeting because of the very hard work of Alan. The co-chairs of the meeting are listed on page 4 of the program book. I don't need to read off names, but we had an esteemed group of individuals to support this conference. And I want to especially salute our program committee that consisted of Arlene Chu of City of Hope, Clive Svensson of Cedars-Sinai, Dr. Paul Patterson of Caltech, David Warburton from Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, Don Gibbons on behalf of the California Institute of Regenerative Medicine, Alan Giacomo of the law firm of Sidley Austin in New York. Alan also chaired our poster session, and myself. This group put in a tremendous amount of work to produce the summit ahead. I also want right away to thank our key sponsors, our platinum sponsors, Millipore, that is sponsoring our conversations with expert lunches that will take place today, and also the journal Regenerative Medicine, and our gold sponsor, the Douglas Foundation, which of course represents the iconic Hollywood family of Kirk Douglas, Michael Douglas, Peter Douglas, that also came on, and other wonderful sponsors for which, if we didn't have support, this conference could not take place. At this point, I want to introduce a distinguished group of greeters for you to provide some welcoming remarks. The first is one of the co-chairs of the World Stem Cell Summit, Richard Jove of City of Hope and the Beckman Research Institute. Richard, would you come up?
Thank you very much, Bernie. I'd like to add my welcome as director of the Beckman Research Institute at the City of Hope. I'm very pleased and delighted to welcome you all here to Pasadena, to our neighborhood in greater Los Angeles. It is thrilling to watch this field blossom in the last decade, especially in our state of California, where the passage of Proposition 71 and CIRM have made California a leader in every aspect of stem cell research: basic discovery, translation, and clinical medicine. The City of Hope has a long history as an advocate and practitioner of stem cell approaches in research and in the clinic. We helped pioneer bone marrow transplants 3.5 decades ago. And this year we celebrated our 10,000th bone marrow transplant. Only the second institution in the nation to achieve this historic milestone. With a strong tradition in GMP production of clinical grade reagents, we are now developing novel treatments for cancer, diabetes, AIDS, and other devastating diseases. Today, a profound opportunity stands before us to transform how medical science touches the lives of patients. And stem cell research sits right at the intersection of this monumental, historic moment. I would like to join the other sponsors in welcoming all of you and also the World Stem Cell Summit to California. I look forward to hearing about the latest innovations and clinical applications at this meeting in the coming days. And while you're here, I also urge you to enjoy historic Pasadena and take in some of the local culture. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful time at this conference. Thank you.
I want to remind everyone that this meeting would not have taken place without the co-organizing institutions, of which City of Hope is one, and are represented on this here this morning. The second individual I'd like to call up is Dr. Shlomo Melmed of Cedars-Sinai.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bernie, and on behalf of all our co-sponsors, we at Cedars-Sinai welcome all of you to Pasadena, to Southern California. Well, actually, this year really is a celebration for the field, because it was exactly 50 years ago, in 1961, that McCulloch and Till published their first paper on the functional identification of stem cells, which actually was a serendipitous finding of spleen colony-forming units. And it was only 44 or 45 years later, in 2005, that they received the Lasker Award, valuing them for their fundamental discovery. So I think it's quite fitting that this is now the 50th anniversary, and we've come so far in recognizing the promise that this science and discovery does hold for all of our patients. We at Cedars-Sinai, which is a few miles to the west of us here, established a Regenerative Medicine Institute one very short year ago. We established it under the leadership of Clive Svensson, a global leader in stem cell research, who's going to be presenting his own work on Huntington's and ALS at this meeting. And we did this for three reasons, and all these three reasons really had a confluence over the past 2 years. The first was as a fully integrated academic medical center, which provides the largest number of health care provision to individuals on the West Coast. And as a large clinical enterprise, we have as our mission to remain at the cutting edge of biomedical discovery. And we realized with our enormous patient load that even though we were doing, for example, the largest number of heart transplants in the nation, we still have the need to reanimate the structure and the function of degenerating organs. And our quest was exemplified by the work of our Dr. Eduardo Marban, the director of our Heart Institute, whose work you will hear of at this meeting, who has pioneered autologous stem cell therapies for damaged heart muscle. And the third confluent factor which energized us to establish the Regenerative Medicine Institute was the need to train our students, our physicians, our scientists in an integrated fashion in the new discipline of regenerative medicine within a clinical context. And in this 13 short months since our institute has been established, we already have 13 principal investigators working on the brain, on the heart, blood, bone, skeleton, pancreas, and eye. We have 7 new CIRM grants in excess of $11 million in a competitive fashion over the past 13 months. And now we are proud that we have just opened a new induced pluripotent stem cell core facility, which will provide quality stem cell lines for scientists and clinicians throughout the West Coast and beyond if required. So now we are really uniquely poised to rapidly and most importantly safely move any new stem cell discovery directly to the bedside. And our commitment to this goal at Cedars-Sinai has been highlighted by a major investment in a new advanced health sciences pavilion, over 500,000 square foot fully integrated clinical and research tower, which will bring together regenerative medicine with physicians, clinicians, scientists, and patients, all working together in synergy for truly translational research in one building. Cedars-Sinai continues to look forward to working with CIRM and the entire stem cell community to bring the promise of regenerative medicine to fruition for our patients. And we are really delighted to open this wonderful meeting with you and with our colleagues on the stage over here, bringing together so many different communities committed to stem cell discoveries, and we wish you a wonderfully productive 3 days.
Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce another of our co-chairs, Dr. Paul Patterson of Caltech.
Thanks very much, Bernie. I represent today California Institute of Technology, or Caltech. We are, of course, the home team of this conference. Our campus is just a few blocks away to the east. We are the home of, I think, currently 4 Nobel Prize winners, 3 in chemistry. We were happy the other day to hear that our latest winner of the National Medal of Science was announced, Jackie Barton. We have been working in the area of stem cell biology for some years now. We have a stem cell serum grant in training postdoctoral fellowships. We have we coordinate a Bridges program with Pasadena City College, which is also just a few blocks away, as well as Cal State LA and Cal State Pomona. So Caltech is famous for its chemistry and geology, physics, engineering, but we also have a strong representation in biology and stem cell biology in particular. So I look forward to attending the meeting and hope to see you all there. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. We couldn't have done this meeting without the support of the Keck School of Medicine of USC, and I'd like to call up the Dean, Carmen Puliafito.
Thank you very much, Bernie. Welcome to Pasadena, which is USC territory. USC has a tremendous commitment to stem cell research. On the back of your program, you'll see a wonderful photograph of our new Eli and Edith Broad CIRM Center, which opened this year. It's a 90,000 square foot state-of-the-art regenerative medicine research center. At USC and at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, which is our pediatric hospital, we have more than 80 investigators working in stem cell medicine. We rank 5th among all institutions in the state of California in grants from CIRM. I'd also like to let you know that USC is embarking on an expansion of its stem cell research. We will be creating a new cross-university, cross-school department of regenerative and stem cell biology next academic year and make substantial investments in recruiting basic and applied scientists to USC. Finally, I'd like to welcome you all to our USC reception, which will be held at 5 o'clock this afternoon in Ballroom H. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean. Of the 2 of our co-organizing institutions will be providing some greetings tomorrow morning. That is Children's Hospital of Los Angeles and also the Consulate General of Canada in Los Angeles. This is the first summit that's also been co-organized by a country, which is certainly a significant happening for our cause and movement, something that we're very, very proud of. As our final greeter of the morning and the individual who will introduce our first speaker. I'm going to call up in a moment, John Thomas, who is the new chair of the Independent Oversight Committee of the California Institute of Regenerative Medicine. There's a reason we are in Los Angeles, of course, for this meeting in Los Angeles County. The state of California is robust in stem cell research, robust in the nascent and now burgeoning regenerative medicine industry. And a region that is booming is the region of Los Angeles County. A lot of meetings we see in San Francisco, it seems, and a lot deservedly so in La Jolla. But this meeting was meant in part to showcase the really wonderful institutions that are in this region. And we've had unprecedented support for this meeting, for which we are so grateful. I thought I knew what was going on here, but as I visited with the researchers in planning the meeting, spoke weekly to them, had a chance to see the magnificent laboratories, and meet the folks involved and the passionate physicians that are involved and researchers, I came away with absolute support. I'm in awe, and I feel that indeed the future of medicine is taking place right here. This is one of the first meetings, in fact the first meeting, where we found great research hospitals supporting the World Stem Cell Summit, like City of Hope and Cedars-Sinai and Children's Hospital Los Angeles. This is an extraordinarily important fact, that these types of institutions are engaged, and hospitals are now looking forward to engaging in regenerative medicine, something very important. The real stem cell state is the state of California. And when the federal government was not producing the funding for embryonic stem cell research, and the perception was that valuable areas of research were going to be shut down or hindered, in California, activists and advocates decided to do something about it. And what they did is they marched to the ballot box to support something called Proposition 71. This is just the most amazing experiment to create a state to create a funding agency to support stem cell research and regenerative medicine was unprecedented. And because the voters of California, with great leaders like Bob Klein, pushed this forward, we see funding of $3 billion towards this research, collaborations across many, many countries. I saw where Dr. Craig Venter, just recently, the scientist in part who sequenced the human genome, said that Serum, the California Institute of Regenerative Medicine, is the greatest scientific organization founded in our era. I think there's a lot of confusion about Serum, but what I think, this is a celebration of Serum. It's a celebration of the leadership of Serum, the fact that they've been able to create something out of absolutely nothing that was like this before. The institutions were here, the scientists were here, but the funding wasn't all in place. But because of the California Institute of Regenerative Medicine, we find ourselves in California holding this meeting with so much promise. Well, I am absolutely delighted to introduce to this group and this audience John Thomas, who is now the chair of the Oversight Committee, the chair of the California Institute of Regenerative Medicine. John, it takes a lot to move in this direction with your life and to give of yourself in this way. And we are very proud to welcome you to this meeting and appreciate the work that you're doing now and will do in the future. So introduce John Thomas.
Thanks very much, Bernie, and good morning, everybody. On behalf of the state of California and the governing board and distinguished staff of CIRM, I would, to take Bernie's line, like to welcome the world to the stem cell state. We are delighted that everybody can come to hear the latest in what is a clearly burgeoning and evolving success story in the field of stem cell research. A bit on CIRM, as Bernie suggested, as you know, we came into being 7 years ago. We have $3 billion in state funding, an unprecedented shift in the paradigm for how to fund medical research. To date, we have either allocated or awarded $1.4 billion of the three. We have 44 translational grants or loans going after cures for 26 currently incurable diseases. We have, as you may know, 12 institutes that CIRM has funded the construction of statewide. Carmen, of course, referenced one. We have many others that are up and fully operational, and those that are about to come online. The consortium down in San Diego is close to dedicating its building, and we're very much looking forward to that and having that building join the ranks of those that we have currently in place. We have a marvelous group of scientists in California. It is truly made us the 800-pound gorilla in stem cells in the world. Not only did we start with a tremendous base of talent, we have had the good fortune through the availability of our funding to attract over 100 renowned stem cell scientists to move to California and, of course, bring with them postdocs and the multiplier effect that they have on the bioscience business. I've had the luxury of being able to tour a number of our institutes and will shortly complete going out to meet people, and I can tell you there is absolutely infectious enthusiasm for stem cell research amongst our investigators, amongst the folks that run the programs. They say, 7 years ago we were completely adrift. We were stem cell scientists. We had nowhere to go, nowhere to turn. Now, with the help of CIRM, and by the way, I should point out, not only did we have $3 billion in state funding, we had an additional almost $900 million contributed by high net worth and foundation benefactors to supplement the $3 billion, giving us almost $4 billion in funding. The scientists point to that and say, you have enabled us. Not only are we now able to ply our trade, but we are able to do so in an accelerated and coordinated fashion that is going to help develop therapies and cures in the stem cell space that much faster. There is also similar infectious enthusiasm amongst our most important group, the patient advocates. I see my close friend Roman Reed out here, Don. We are obviously about the patient advocates, first and foremost. We have made it a great priority to involve the patient advocates to an even greater extent than they have the first 7 years to help us tell our story. It is about the patient advocates. The work is for the patient advocates. And we will, with the continued hard work of everybody connected here, succeed for the patient advocates and those that they represent. A bit on the goals of CIRM going forward. I step into enormous shoes. As I've said to many people, when the annals of medicine for this era are written, Bob Klein will be very high up and prominently featured as the driving force behind this grand experiment and organization. Bob said to me as I took office, he said, hold on, buckle up, You're living history as it unfolds, and I truly believe that. We are in an era of unprecedented opportunity, of translation from basic research to the clinic. We will move, we will progress, we will have milestones met and ultimately reach many of our collective goals. Things that we're going to be emphasizing. CIRM has funding for another several years. Sustainability of CIRM and the research effort that it has gotten underway is a very high priority of mine. Public communications. We've done a wonderful job of dealing with the scientific media heretofore, haven't focused quite as much on the public media. You'll know if you walk around the state and you ask about the Stem Cell Research Funding Institute, people will say, oh yes, I remember we voted on that a few years ago. What's going on with those guys anyway? Well, we are going to tell the world what's going on, and we have a great story to tell, and we will be unrelenting in telling it until we make it very clear to the public, to the legislature, to our constitutional officers, to all of the patient advocate network, and last but not least, to the press, who I am determined will be writing glowing articles about our work going forward. We have an increased emphasis in involving industry. Very important. The biotech and pharma industries will play a major role in the transition to the clinic, which is a big aim of the program in these years going forward. We have elevated industry to subcommittee status along with intellectual property issues, which are most important to all of you as you continue to work on your research and develop your potential products going forward. With the intellectual property rights, we are helping the grantees. It is a big initiative of the CIRM board to figure out, not just to help with funding, but to see how we might, going forward, do additional work to help the grantees get from the research to, if they so choose, the stage of commercialization.